Hello, I'm Jasmine, and welcome to the channel that I am hardly ever at, so you might as well welcome me as well. The reason why I don't typically post on YouTube is because I post a lot of things on Instagram, and it's just a bit of a struggle to find things that I can do on YouTube that I don't do on Instagram. And Instagram, like, I'm busy. Instagram is quick and easy. I can just take a few pictures and edit them, and whereas for some odd reason taking a video and editing the video is more challenging. I don't quite get it, but welcome to my channel. You may never see me again, so if you decide to stay, good for you, muchly appreciated. You might want to check out my Instagram though, because if you like my content, you might be interested with Instagram. So there you go. For this video, I am actually going to talk about some books that I think make a good conversation starter just because of the topic. I'm going to start off heavy because why not? And first off, I have Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us. I was originally just going to do It Ends With Us, but It Starts With Us is pretty good as well. So basic gist, It Ends With Us is ending the cycle of domestic violence and abuse. And then It Starts With Us. I mean, I think they both just, I'd say, since I've never been in an abusive relationship before with a partner, I'd say that it gives a pretty good understanding of what that would be like, and why somebody would stick around as well. And then It Starts With Us kind of just goes deeper into that, where it's like, oh, this person is abusive and now you have a child with them, so you got a divorce, but how are you going to trust that there's, any salvaging the relationship that the child could have with the abusive parent? And it's just, despite being flowery, it is not a flowery story, and I think that it opens up a great discussion about that kind of thing. Next, we have another Colleen Hoover book, and that is Verity. It is very odd. There's this author who is supposedly paralyzed, and she has another author come into her home to finish her book. And it's just, how do I say this? It's a little weird because Verity is supposedly paralyzed, and yet she is like the ghost in her house, because this other character that comes in, she doesn't know Verity. She knows that Verity should be paralyzed, supposedly, and which means it's very weird when things are moving out of place, and she sees this person supposedly like moving, and then there's like at the end of the book there's a letter the character finds, because throughout the entire book she was reading a manuscript of Verity's life, and the whole idea behind the letter is like, did it actually happen, or is it just a story? The ending itself is brutal, but there's some books that make you question the author. I'll just tell you that. But it still opens up a good discussion, because you just want to know what happened. Was it all real, or was it not? And it kind of makes you like, you want to root for the character, but you kind of don't want to root for the character. These 3 books here, I read them like last year. So if I want to give any super big details, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I have reviews on all of them on Goodreads. So you could probably find them on my Goodreads, maybe. Now that we got, no wait, I want to do all of the heavy stuff first. And what I have for you next is I Am Legend. I read this book in 2023. However, I still remember it fairly well because there is a movie based off of it, and the details of the movie are very different from the details of the book. First of all, the book takes place in a different time setting. So a lot of the things that you see in the movie with, what's his face? Yeah, that guy. You find that there are a lot of differences purely because Robert Neville in the movie is black and has a more 21st century, set in the 21st century, and it's just a very, there's just a very big difference between the main character in the movie and the main character in the book, because in the book he's like white and I think German, at least like German ancestry, and then it's set in like, I can't remember what time frame, but like not 2013, which I think is when the movie is set. So I guess the discussion, the conversation starter with this one, basically, you can see Neville going crazy. Like, you can see him going crazy in the movie, but you can see a lot more of it in the book. And I think the idea is like, how crazy do you think you would be if you were the last person on Earth, at least the last person where you live in your city, this big city of New York City, if you were like the last person alive and you were supposed to come up with a cure or whatnot, and your only companion is a dog and zombies. So if you're into zombie books with a bit of substance as well, I Am Legend is it for you. This is not a book recommending video, okay? But I will recommend this book. Moving on. We have a less serious, and that is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, from Judy Blume. I read this also, I can't remember when, but I read it, and it was good. I liked the movie. I liked the book a whole lot more. And while I was reading this book, I was also taking a class on child development. And I think that if you are in a class about child development, it's a really good read to have, because you can actually use it in your class, and you can talk about like how a child starts thinking about religion and what they want to believe, and all of the outside influences that can make a child either completely reject religion or decide that they want to be included as well. It's just a great discussion starter on children and religion, how they're influenced. And next up, I have a book that I am currently reading, yet have read twice. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Sometimes it's the Sorcerer's Stone, but it's the same book, just different title. I'm like really close to the end of this one. And those that don't know, I'm actually doing a project with Harry Potter where I'm going to read all of the books and watch all the movies, and I'm going to make some comparisons on YouTube. It's going to be a YouTube video about what I find. And I'm finding so much. I've spent like almost 2 full months on this book. And it's not a big book either. Like, but the thing is, I can't necessarily sit down and read this, just read it, because I'm also taking notes, and I'm studying the contents of this book, and I'm thinking back to the movie, and I'm also a psych student who has like psych homework and stuff, so a lot of brain power that I haven't really been able to put into it if I've spent all day doing homework, which I'm starting to decide I should spend some of that brain power on Harry Potter. Not because I want to prioritize this over my education, but I also want to be able to get some way through it. And the chapters are long, and I have ADHD, and sometimes reading a book just puts me into the state of mind to do homework. So that helps too. But the discussion starter of this book, it is, well, the discussion starter of this book is just basically friendship and doing things the right way, even when there are so many rules against it. Like, the kids in here, like, they're paralyzing each other, and they're, breaking the rules to have each other's back. And I guess the question that you want to go with is, how far is too far? Because if we remember anything about the Harry Potter books specifically, there's a lot of rule breaking and a lot of life risking. So how far is too far when it comes to breaking rules? Do you actually want to risk that? And another book that kind of brings that up as well is The Selection, in the Selection series. How many rules should you break? This one, it's not at all the same as Harry Potter, but in The Selection there are rebellions, and it's like Hunger Games style, where there's like classes and case, and there's rebellions and people who don't want to follow it. And then you've got this chick who comes from a low caste, and she's starting to question the caste system, and because she's like with the royals, and she's like close with the prince, she ends up making him question it as well. And it's just a good conversation starter on how to question things and the proper way of taking action when you start to question them. So, those are the books that I find make really great conversation starters. So, if you like my YouTube channel, consider subscribing. Consider going to my Goodreads and my Instagram for more content that you wouldn't find on YouTube, most likely. And